I actually put her bathing suit on before we left home because it was really hot out that day. So it was just something small and thin, not so hot. Okay. I know how she gets too hot.
Was the
No.
AC on or
I
off?
don't like AC.
And are you an air conditioned person, or in your mom's truck was the
No.
AC on or
I
off?
don't like AC.
I mean, she could have been when she got back into the car, like how the water gets through your lungs and everything else.
Okay.
And how she was in the hot car while they went to the stores and everything.
Okay, so
Her and her mother.
and that left you in Summer.
Yeah.
Was she talking to you? Who goes into the store?
Her and her mother again.
Okay, so
From there, I think they was in the store for an hour maybe.
okay, they were in the store for a long time.
Yeah, a little bit long, but not that long.
And what did they get?
So they got groceries for the house. I don't know what all they got. All I seen was what was beside of us, the milks.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to all of the new subscribers and hello to all the new viewers. Please take a minute, like the video and share it if you can. So I'm going to get right into this. We're going to be talking about the Summerwells case a little bit. And I've been looking more and more at the information that had come out at the beginning. Specifically, I'm looking at the photo of Summer, the video, which was taken. And that is the last photo that we know of. And her mother, Candace, said that she took it because it was so cute. The way Summer had her arms up, she said it looked like her father, Don. He would put his arms like that as well. That is what she said. I'm going to play that clip for you to hear what she says.
On the way home, well, we were just sitting there talking, me and Mom, about everything pretty much. Trees, flowers, rock, whatever Mom likes, pretty much we talk about. And I was like, what's Summer doing? She's like, oh, she fell asleep. I was like, oh, how's she sleeping? And when I look back, because I'm driving, and I look back like this, she had her arms up like this, like her daddy sleeps all the time.
Okay.
So I wanted to catch that moment.
Okay.
It was just things I do.
Right.
And I was like, here, Mom, hurry up, take that picture. And then she accidentally hit the video record.
Okay.
Instead of the picture part.
Okay.
So like, did you catch it? She's like, no, I accidentally hit the video part.
That's what you get for handing Grandma the camera.
Yeah, well, I was driving though.
Okay.
And I was like, did she put her arm back down? She's like, yeah. I was like, dang. And then she got a picture of her, but by that time her arm was down, but her arm was up most of the time like this.
So looking at that, now that you've seen that, so I kind of get an impression looking at that video of her giving that explanation. It does make an impression on me, and of course we will all see things differently, but the way I see it, the way I see this whole thing in reality, I'm thinking that she took that photo, that video, to send to Don to show him her concern that Summer was sick, passed out, and she looked like a rag doll, limp, laying on those plastic milk containers that would have been sent to Donald for him to understand that there was a serious problem with Summer. For example, an urgent emergency situation. That is what I'm thinking. So let me know what you think about that. There has been a lot of talk about it, obviously. So now at 3:09 p.m. or so, reports say that that video was taken. That is what they say. And at that time, the father would leave work without letting any co-workers know about his concern. I'm thinking that he was at work. He received a phone call or maybe a text, and he either texted back, I'm thinking that he phoned back, or possibly that Candace did reach him and that they spoke. Either way, that this is basically the scenario where would be an emergency with Summer, and that had him having to rush up to meet with Candace. And so, like I said, that video, the way that I see it, is that was actually taken because Candace wanted her father, Summer's father, Don, to see that there was a serious situation and that something was wrong with Summer. So he took over at that point. So he would head home, either that he headed home and that they met halfway between Jonesboro and the home location, or that they did in fact, and I tend to lean towards that they did drop off Grandma at Ben Hill Road, that they left Grandmother at home and that they met up. And it could be that Grandmother was left at home and then Candace met Don halfway, or that Don did that, he was able to rush home and that he made it all the way to Ben Hill, and at that point that he took over from there, and basically he took over in every way with the problem at hand that day and later in communications when conveying the events of the day with the public. Don took over while Candace waited in the background and Don put the story forward. So he was the PR person, the public relations for, I believe, the first 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks before the mother came out to talk to the media. If you recall, Candace was in the background and, you would think that, of course, you could make the excuse that, that she was a mother who had suffered the loss of her child and that she couldn't talk for that reason. But that is what happened. So now what I'm thinking about that whole day, okay, the circumstance of that day, either it was that Summer was too cold that day, or as Candace said, she said that it was baking hot. That was Candace's take on the day. All right. So tell me what you think about that. And another thing, the bathing suit. Okay. Now, the thing is that we haven't seen that there was a bathing suit that day. It's not verified. There is no confirmation or evidence of that bathing suit that it's been seen. But there is contradiction surrounding it. The story told by Candace, Allison, or by H, the son of Allison, their stories are different regarding Summer's bathing suit.
Bathing suit or...
I actually put her bathing suit on before we left home because it was really hot out that day.
Okay.
So it was just something small and thin, not so hot.
Okay. Okay.
Because I know how she gets too hot.
Okay.
Okay, so Candace said that she had put Summer in the bathing suit that morning. She said that, and by now you know this, that she figured they would go swimming, but she does at one point say there was no plans. Now with Allison, on their side, they say that Summer had changed at their house. So they're getting quite a bit of difference in what actually happened. So that is odd. I consider that one of the many red flags, or possibly lies told to cover up the truth, right? That is what it looks like. The long pants and the long sleeve jacket would imply that Summer was cold, right? And they dressed her with those clothes to keep her warm or to warm her up. And that does make sense. So she was in fact wearing those clothes in the photo. If Summer was sick due to some substance she ate, her system may have been in shock, poisoned, possibly an accidental toxic substance that put her body into shock. And substance abuse is a big part of the story. It's an issue for both parents going back years into their past and present as well. It surrounds the story and it surrounded the lives of those children. So think about it. Summer might have mistakenly eaten a piece of something, a poison that looked like candy, either that morning at home or during their errands that day. I'm not sure when it would have happened, but I imagine that she could have taken something in, and depending upon what it is, that the effect could have taken, let's say, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. But that is a big possibility. Okay, so we ask, why not take her to the hospital? Well, there is a reason for that. But back to the circumstances. All right, so a 5-year-old might find something and taste it, not knowing it would harm them, of course. At that age, they can see what their parents are doing, and they would be curious to find or to try for themselves. Try that very same substance which they have seen an adult use in whatever way. I'm not sure what it would have been or how they would have used it. The effect of that toxin on the child would be fatal, as it can also be with full-grown adults. So we know that Don was at work, but he could leave and he could return back to work. The map shows us he might have been within the time frame of about 3 hours. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that within that area, that location, let's say from 3 p.m. to approximately 6, for example, that is a wide window of time for now, until we know more. You can look at that location and 3 hours, and then estimate a distance that might show us where Summer is. The time limitations in this story would limit the distance that could have been traveled to conceal and hide Summer, either a temporary hiding spot or to this day where she would remain since then. Summer would be within that location now unless there was an accomplice to move her out of that area, or if she was hidden temporarily by an adult and then moved the next day or multiple times, even further away, and possibly even out of Tennessee. That is another possibility, that she may have been taken so far that she is not there any longer. And we have heard about those teams which have been searching, and they have exerted, it's very difficult with that terrain, with the heat that was mentioned, with the area that they have to cover. And these search teams are basically using a lot of energy. They are coming together. They're having to get organized to put a task forward and to get, let's say, find out where have they looked, where have they not looked, and to organize this whole event in search of Summer. That is a lot of energy. That is a lot of people putting forward, a big effort. And so now the thing is that if there was an accomplice, and if she was taken further away, she may not be there. All right. She could be in a different state. And we have seen these scenarios where there are, for example, there's a recent case which we've been talking about, where there are vehicles which are rented. In this case, we have multiple vehicles on that one property that we've seen. So it even makes it, that there is more possibility with those vehicles. Okay. Now, the issue of SA can be looked at by the investigators, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave that out for now, but that can be addressed separately, because the way that I'm talking about this whole situation, we really don't need to go into that to figure out what was going on that day, because basically the father was at work, and there was a lot of activity. So it's enough to look at, and then look at the time frame. the question that I would ask is, why not bring her to the hospital? Just as Candace brought the grandmother to the hospital, the same could have been done for Summer in this scenario. That is, we've seen that she put the care, she is able to drive to make her way to that center there. And that's kind of interesting that that very day they were able to make their way to that hospital. Okay, so that is kind of perplexing, interesting. It's kind of ironic in a way with this story, because what I'm thinking that possibly the child had an illegal substance in her system that would have been discovered at the hospital. And poisons and drugs are issues that emergency workers see, and they're aware of the signs and symptoms that would show up. Tests would have been done to verify and confirm the substance or poison. A 5-year-old child in toxic shock from substances that the parents have been using, or worse. We have heard a lot from Don, his past, things that he's done, where he's been. He mentions going south and regarding substances. You've heard about that. And he says that he has tried to get clean. But like I said, we've heard about all that. And he would want to maybe hide that if it was still going on. And all these possibilities would force the parents to conceal their child. If you think about it, they would want to conceal why she is ill in that photo. If it's because of something that they've done, if it is something which would make them look bad and get them into trouble. People have put forward the idea that they were fearful because of their own records. The idea that SA needed to be hidden before school started. Because Summer was going to be starting school, she might start behaving in a way which would be noticed by teachers, even by other students, as really standing out in a strange way. Okay, but like I said, I'm not really going to get into that too much. Another question again was about the bathing suit. Was there a bathing suit? Is there really a bathing suit? Because it looks like Summer is wearing a dress. Now, if you look at the TikTok video, it's not very clear. There's a lot of movement. There's not a lot of color. It's blurry. But there is one point where she kind of pops up out of the water, and it looks like she's wearing a dress there at the horse pond, okay, at Warriors Park. It looks like she's either wearing a dress or it looks like she has a top with a skirt. Okay, and that is a photo there. And to me, that doesn't look like a bathing suit. Okay, but I'm not sure. So let me know what you think about that. They went to the hippie house, and that is very close to the place where she was swimming. Okay, the water hole there at Warrior State Park there, right by the horse stable, which is also very close. But the hippie house is kind of across from the water, but you have to cross 2 bridges to get to that location where they went to, where Summer was swimming. And the thing is that, so they went to the hippie house, and then they went to that secluded area, Warrior State Horse Stable, the watering hole, which is where the horses drink water, supposedly. I believe that's something that Candace had said. But did they go there for Summer? Or was it for the reason of having a secluded location? And Summer could swim there as well. We see that. But why not take Summer to a nicer location? Somewhere clean. There's garbage all around there. There's cans thrown all around. And it looks, probably they're alcoholic beverages around. And around there by the shore, in the bushes to the side. There's several large branches in the water, and we don't know what's there under the water. There could be, she could, let's say, stub her foot on something, because there are so many branches there and they're rotting there. It's probably not the best place for a 5-year-old. It does look kind of rough, and I'm sure there would have been somewhere better that they could have taken her, but I'm not, it's possibly, maybe it's not that bad, but that is just kind of a suspicion. From looking and seeing, you can clearly see there's large trees, large branches that have landed there in the water, and so we really can't tell what's under there. Okay, so maybe that diversion to the horse pond was more related to what they got from the hippie house. What do you guys think about that? So that is more, let's say, that is more looking at the behavior and kind of more pointing towards negligence. Okay, but I want to get back to the whole possibility of a toxic substance. Okay, because basically that would be more an injury, whereas a toxic substance would be more leaning towards that she was poisoned. Okay, so it's two different things. But now the thing is that when we look at the house, we can see that it is in disarray. At the house, basically there's a mess. I don't want to judge them. It's more towards wondering along these lines of a toxic substance. And when people live in those conditions, then you mix in substances around the children and within reach of children. And carelessness, when you have a toxic substance, just think about the way that an adult would behave afterwards. If someone is, let's say, okay, the effect afterwards, a substance abuser, whether it be alcohol or drugs, afterwards they will be maybe knocked out, they might be unaware, or they might become abusive because of that substance, because of drugs or alcohol. And they won't be able to care for their children in that state, or maybe not know what their kids are doing at that point. And so it just brings in a lot of danger when that is surrounding the family. That brings a lot of danger. And you can't, poverty is not the issue, because you can be poor, you can be clean and poor, you can be aware when you're poor, you can take care of your kids when you're poor. It has to do more with attention towards the things that matter. So it's not judgment on, let's say, having a small house, but it's more looking at the possibility of what might have happened to Summer. Okay, so we know that kids are curious and they get into stuff. Okay, and that's why these days we see all of these safety gates and the child safety locks, and that is, to protect kids from getting into trouble. That might not be a part of this story, or may not have made a difference if this happened away from the house. But at this point we don't know, because it could be something which, depending upon the substance, if there was something which was ingested that morning, or it could have been something, let's say, mid-morning, and the effect, depending upon what it was, some things will take effect quickly, some things might take time, I'm not sure. And then you have to take into account that the size of the person. When it's a child, that substance will do harm a lot faster. And so what I'm talking about here is an accident. And accidents do happen. And these things happen even with household cleaners, We have heard of these sorts of accidents, and that is why those containers have safety lids. For example, aspirin, Tylenol, Advil, even like I said, household cleaners, all have lids which kids can't open because kids get into stuff. And like I said, accidents do happen. So is this what happened to Summer? Or was it another type of injury that happened that had to be concealed as well? Now, if it was another injury, the thing is that we have H, who was there, and it seems that he saw her for quite a while and that she was fine. We see that she was fine when she was swimming. And if that video is in fact from that day, H is in the video as well. And so she seems that she was well at that point. What could have happened, we don't know. So that part I'm not sure about. Whether it was water that she had inhaled or some other injury. Okay, so let me know what you make of it so far. I did come across the information about the nail beds, and that when there is toxin, when there is poisons that have been ingested, that can be one of the first signs that the nail beds will show up blue from poisons. Okay, and there's various poisons that will have different effects, but that was one of the things that I did read about. And you guys might know about that even more. There's a lot of people that comment who are nurses, who have experience seeing people that have taken poisons. The other thing was the whole issue of a dry drowning and how that would appear, how that would look if that happened. So those are all possibilities, but I have another question. Okay, so now to me, this does seem like quite a big thing. It's a big part of the story of what happened that day. And the question is, why did Candace feel that she had to say that it was only 5 minutes that she was shopping for groceries? Why did she have to point that out?
Okay.
And then we left from there, and I went up Moreland Drive because I had to pick up a few things. I was in the store for maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
Grabbed some milk and some cheese, and I don't remember what else I bought.
Okay. And that's the food lush?
No,
or
priceless.
Priceless. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then I was like, Hunter, you're not coming to the house. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house.
Okay.
And I took him back to his house and dropped him off and left. And Summer was still awake when I left his house.
Okay.
Was she feeling guilty about leaving Summer in the car? I think that's a possibility. Okay, because she said that she went for groceries from Priceless, inside Priceless. And she says that at home, when they got back home, they had to sort them out and put them away.
I bring my kids out, and we all unload the groceries, but we all go in my house first because we sort out my mom's groceries from her groceries.
Okay.
We always do.
Yeah.
And we did that, and Mom walked back across, and me and Summer were putting groceries away, and watching TV off and on, and just chilling with the boys, hanging out, and then we decided to do some laundry.
Not only groceries for herself and the kids, but for grandmother as well. And she had groceries as well. The thing is that now, if you think about this, they had to be a lot of groceries, so many that the milk couldn't fit in the back with the other groceries. So they had to fit the milk into the back seat with the kids, where you can see H and Summer, they were sitting in the back there. And for some reason, they put the milk there. And that tells me there was no more space for groceries, for the abundance of groceries in the back. That's why there's milk there. There was too much stuff in the back. They bought lots of groceries and were in there for an hour, like H said.
They're in the CBD store. How long were they in there?
like 5 minutes tops.
And then what happened?
And then she came out with 2 babes. And from there, I think they was in the store for an hour maybe.
Okay. They were in the store for a long time?
Yeah, a little bit long, but not that long.
And what did they get?
So they got groceries for the house. I don't know what all they got. All I seen was what was beside of us, the milks.
So the way I see it, it was not 5 minutes. You can't do shopping and pay in 5 minutes. It would be about 5 minutes just in line, waiting to pay, checking out. That would be 5 minutes. So therefore, it was more than 5 minutes. And I would say at least 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, because time flies when you're shopping. And if you think about it, walking from aisle to aisle, from the dairy section to the produce, and then the meat, etc., that would take more than 5 minutes. Candace says it was 5 minutes because she knows she shouldn't have left Summer in the car. It could be that Summer had already passed out, but they might have not thought that she was. They thought she was sleeping at that point, and for that reason, they left her there sleeping with H in the car. That is a possibility, okay? But from what I know, and the laws from where I am, that you cannot leave a 5-year-old in a car unattended, period. And that is regardless of whether it's 1 minute or 5 minutes or whatever. If you're getting gas and you're going to pay, you can't do that. And another thing is that H, he is not accountable to care for a 5-year-old. And even if it was his sister, it doesn't matter. And that is pretty obvious. Okay, that is a part of the story that for me that pops out. She may have left her. I was thinking along the lines that basically Candace had left her there, that it was too long, and it was too hot, is what I was thinking. But that goes against the whole thing that Summer was cold. And it is a fact that she's wearing that clothing. So maybe she was cold already, not feeling well. And for that reason, they dressed her to help her to warm up. And maybe they left her too long. They left her there in the car, and she wasn't feeling well at that point when they should have done something about it. And then she was kind of fading very quickly. And it would have been, let's say, a toxic substance, maybe that she'd eaten. And so with this scenario, the color of her nail beds, that would go together with a poisonous, with a reaction that her body was shutting down, that her body was in shock. We know that when this happens, your body will get cold. There's many scenarios where a person will be fatally sick and that their body will become cold. And that could be what was happening to her, So let me know what you guys think about it. I did come across some news from one of the other channels. There was a comment made on my other channel, and the person said that there was news about someone who had spoken to the grandmother, and that basically she wanted to get it off her chest what had happened that day, as far as what she was aware of, that Summer wasn't feeling well, and that she was cold, and that basically the grandmother made it home. At that point, Candace passed on Summer to Dawn, I believe, and the grandmother didn't know anything else about what happened. But the next thing that she found out was that Summer was missing. And so, this kind of, I'm not sure if it's true. It's more like a rumor, but it would go along with what we know so far. So I didn't really want to talk too much about that until it's confirmed. But that was something that I did come across. And you might be hearing about that already. It might not only be on my channel. So anyways, let me know what you think about that. I haven't really bought into the whole trafficking scenario. I just think that is much too creepy, and I'm more leaning towards an accident. So, but who knows? All right, so let me know what you guys think about that, and I look forward to reading your comments. If there's anything you've noticed, you know, if you are thinking along these lines, or if you can see something which would contradict this possibility, you know, let me know about it, because we don't have to, you know, we don't have to really hate each other. We can have different opinions, and we can talk about it and really figure things out, because nobody's going to be right 100%. We're basically just going on things that we've heard and trying to make some sense of it, right? So anyway, so that is it for today, and I want to thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.